Since the 7th of October 2023, when Hamas carried out that murderous and dastardly act on the nation of Israel, killing over 1,200 people, which we all obviously condemned, as any peace-loving person will do, irrespective of whichever religious persuasion you may belong to. We have subsequently seen the response of Israel, which has been high-handed, which has been murderous, which has been destructive. And according to sources, verifiable sources all over, up till today, Israel has killed in response almost 70,000 Palestinians in Gaza and across all the West Bank. In what has been described by many as a complete genocide. Gaza has been razed down over the months, with buildings being destroyed day in, day out, millions of people displaced, and the place becoming completely inhabitable for the Palestinians in Gaza. This is obviously condemnable. No well-meaning, peace-loving individual will condone what Israel is doing. And I know for a lot of us who, especially who are Christians, who find our source historically and culturally from the nation of Israel on the basis of scriptures, many of us have failed, in our responsibility to call out Israel, to denounce Israel. I have never, for once, heard, whether in the news or on social media, Christian religious leaders, from the Pope all the way down, who have condemned what Israel is doing in Gaza. I think this is totally disappointed for somebody like me who's also a Christian leader. I find it difficult to conceive the fact that no Christian leaders call out this, despite the fact that many of the political leaders, nations across the world, obviously with the exception of Israel, almost every nation on the surface of the earth has been condemning what Israel is doing. And I think it is, it's disappointing for those of us who, basically because we find our source culturally from Israel, we are finding it difficult to condemn what Israel is doing. Is justice for us dependent on whoever it's doing what is right or wrong? It's truth for us dependent on who is speaking? Or do we speak truth to power? Do we speak truth to people, irrespective of who they are, whether they belong to us or whether they don't belong to us? That is the double standard that I'm seeing within our Christian, denomination and our Christian faith. And I think it is high time. What is happening in Gaza and in the West Bank that Israel is doing, and coupled with the bombings of other nations, the aggression, call for aggressions in Syria, in Iran, in Yemen, and recently in Qatar, it's totally uncalled for. And people must speak out, especially those of us who are Christians. And I think it is high time for those of us who call ourselves Christians to find a different source culturally, a different derivation culturally and historically to validate our Christian faith. I know in terms of scriptures, we all allude to the fact that Christ came through Palestine. And I want to believe that the focus of Christ coming shouldn't be we shouldn't get ourselves fixated on the idea of the physical coming of Christ. I think we need to look at the divinity. If we're looking at Jesus as divinity, him being the word that was made flesh and dwells amongst us. If we look at that, if you look at it from that point of view, then we will focus mainly as Christians on this Christocentric source of Christ, his divinity, that I believe cuts across the world. Because I believe that in the same way that Christ reincarnated as God in the flesh and he came through Palestine, if God truly is the one that created the whole world and created everybody, then God must have a way of revealing himself. He's revealed himself in Africa the same way he revealed himself through Christ in the Palestine, thousands of years ago. And I believe he will have revealed himself in Asia and in all other culture. If God truly is the God that is the creator of all people. And I think it's time we revert back to this understanding in our Christian faith as a validation for our Christian faith, and look at Christ in his divinity, and be with the belief that in the same way Christ manifested in the flesh as God in Palestine, he must have manifested himself in other cultures, in other races, in other religions as well. And this is what I stand on. This is what Resurgence Nation Global stands upon as a validation for our Christian faith. And the same Christ in scriptures, condemned what the religious order of the day in the nation of Israel did. He called out their injustice. He called out their unfairness. He called out all the wrong practices that they do to their neighbors in the similar way that the nation of Israel is doing today. And so we must find these Christocentric values for Christianity. We must find, a way, stand on the side of Christ's divinity, knowing, fully well that Jesus Christ himself manifests across all cultures. As somebody who is an African Christian, this is my strong belief. And with this belief, with this confidence, now it's time for us to begin to distance ourselves as Christians from the nation of Israel, and know that Christ did not just come from Israel. Christ, as God in the flesh, manifested himself across all races, all tribes, all cultural divides across the world.